On Ticker, this is Import Export with Lawrence Christophels.
We're going to go straight to Christian Merrigan now from Insync Personnel. Apologies, we had a bit of hiccups, as I said earlier. But Christian, I'm going to kick straight into it, mate. Obviously, you're on the on the coalface of jobs, talking to employers, employees. What's the impact of COVID-19? What are you hearing, and what are you experiencing there?
Yeah, look, mate, I think it's hit everyone, and obviously hit everyone quite early, I guess, in the international supply chain side of things. Obviously, restrictions coming out of China a lot earlier than I suppose anything was sort of seen locally. So, you know, with such a strong market out of China, inbound and outbound. Not even considering that transshipment side of things. I think obviously staff is very affected. The staff side of things is very affected, and something that we're obviously on the forefront of. But that I suppose that is a direct effect of the cost of imports and exports going up. Buyer, seller, and consumer. There's really no business that hasn't been affected.
And Christian, obviously we've seen on the news about the major job losses in retail and hospitality. From a logistics, transport, supply chain, broader spectrum, as we've heard with the other guests during the show today, that's still an essential service. Are you experiencing job losses? I mean, obviously freight porters have really hurt over February because of those volumes that essentially just dried up from China. But and other things are back on track. Are you seeing job losses, or are you seeing things pretty much business as usual?
Yeah, certainly. The industry's been affected, Lawrence. I think definitely. The challenge is, holding off, I guess, on redundancies if possible, or, we're talking to a lot of employers that are trying the days per week. I guess the focus is on the short-term fix, but saying that, there's no real light at the end of the tunnel in terms of, when do we know is this going to finish? So we know we're going to need staff, we know it's going to get busier, we know it's going to be a very big peak season, but, the challenge is to be able to afford to pay these people on a weekly, monthly basis, and not really having a forecast of when things are going to get better is very challenging. So, yeah, I think obviously we have seen that, but then also I suppose on the positive side of things, we've had a few conversations with some clients with regards to temps. Obviously not being able to forecast, it's a good time to have a temp. It's not on that on the client's books, and they can sort of, I suppose, turn it on and turn it off whenever they need be.
Yeah, I was going to ask about that, the flexibility and the need for flexibility both with employers and employees, and it's a real challenging time for everyone. But as you said yourself, Christian, I think we do know from experience that once this does get back to normal, there'll be a huge surge, a huge spike. Everyone's going to want their product yesterday. So it's important to maintain that continuity of staff, because they've got the knowledge base of the clients, the products, the processes. So it is a real challenge. What else do you think the government could be doing, or as an industry, what could we be doing from what you see for employers and employees? Is there anything that, as a wish list you'd like to see?
Yeah, I think, Lawrence, probably the most recent focus has been on ensuring that the government keeps, the whole supply chain open. I think that's the most important thing, obviously, for businesses where it can be done, and also staff. I mean, businesses that can stay open, trade. It's important for them to do so, and ensuring that the government allows that to happen through, potentially further lockdowns as, days and weeks go past. Obviously, things are getting tighter. So just making sure that if that does happen and does escalate, that, all services are able to continue. I wouldn't say as normal, but are able to continue.
Yeah. And the other thing, Christian, I wanted to ask about, it's so important. Yes, it's important to have your business processes and remote working really working seamlessly, but what about the cultural impact? What about, I know from a logistics perspective, you really enjoy the camaraderie that you have with people in the warehouse, with the office staff, the truck drivers, and when you're remote, you lose all that. So what sort of tips and advice would you give to both employees and employers? Do you suggest, social drink catch-ups like we're seeing, that they can do stuff remotely and just have some fun and quirky times to keep the culture within the business? What would you recommend there?
Yeah, definitely, Lawrence. It's obviously important to keep that communication open and, have that sort of, have that banter between your colleagues that you do miss out on, because, it is very hard to focus at home for some people. This is all very new to a lot of, I think, the working community. it is a big adjustment, and some people do it very well. Others have distractions, obviously things like schooling, potentially being closed moving forward, and children kept at home. It's that's a challenge in itself. So I think always staying online, staying focused, obviously using mediums like this to communicate with each other. And I suppose that management side of things, just making sure that not so much you're keeping an eye on your staff, but have those regular, structured, communication channels open all the time, so that if someone needs you, you still are available. Because I think that's very important in times of, in need, and also, people just need to get on and hopefully do their job as best as they can from home.
Fantastic. Look, it's been a real important insight at this challenging time. A lot of people are really nervous and insecure about their financial, economic situation and their futures. So thanks so much for joining us, Christian. I think we all agree that even once we pass this hurdle, things will probably be changed forever. There'll probably be a lot of remote working. People will adapt, and even employers might think, okay, well, this could work in certain scenarios. So I'm sure there's going to be a whole evolving space from a point of view of employers, and how they collaborate in the future and renegotiate opportunities as we overcome this critical situation. So thanks so much, Christian. Appreciate your patience too with some of the technical issues, and we sort of shifted a few things around. But thanks again, Matt, and we'll look forward to chatting again very soon.
Sounds good, Lawrence. Appreciate you having us on.
Great. So thanks so much, everyone, for joining us. Appreciate some of your patience. I know it's been a challenge. We've got everyone dialing in from different states, different organisations. So thanks for your patience and understanding with that. Hopefully you've got some great information to stay up to date and to inspire you, give you some confidence, and really keep you abreast of all the changes as this situation unfolds. Stay tuned. Every week we're going to bring you great speakers and more industry experts to make sure that you've got everything up to date with everything here. So thanks again. Look forward to seeing you next week.